Hi guys, welcome back to Cruising with Coogs. Today we have Shawn Singh. He is a food and travel content creator and UH alumni. Shawn, thank you so much for being here.
No, it's wonderful to be here. Excited to be in the car and excited to do this. What's up, everybody? My name is Shawn. So I graduated from the University of Houston in 2018 from the Bauer College of Business. Unbiasedly, I think it's the best college at University of Houston, but I consider us all, UH family, so it's all good. Love the engineering, love the College of Liberal Arts. I remember, I don't know if did you graduate from Bauer? Where did you graduate from?
I did, so I second that. I'm a little biased.
But love Bauer and love my experience there, and this is like the fourth time I've been back on campus within the past year, and before that I had not visited the campus for 6 years, so it's been good to be back. I actually might go work out of the Nook for a little bit after this, just for old time's sake.
Oh my god, I love the Nook. Yeah, it's definitely so good. I have to ask you, where did your name Shawn the Food Sheep come from?
Sure, so basically Shawn the Food Sheep came from, just as a joke, for context, there's a TV show that was like based in the UK. It's called Shawn the Sheep.
Oh, okay.
Y'all may or may not have heard of it. It's very popular, but the thing was, I just kind of took that on. I added food in between just because I was interested in food. Originally, it was just going to be my like TikTok account just to watch stuff with, and then it just I just started posting videos, and I never changed the name afterwards. Started going by like my full name, Shawn Singh, on a lot of them, but my @ is still Shawn the Food Sheep on every one of my social accounts.
No, yeah, I love it. I think it's so cool and creative, and it's definitely memorable. I think your username is probably the only one I actually remember.
No, I'm honored. Yeah, people have told me that not to change it, and I'm like, all right, I'll keep it that way forever.
Your time here at UH, how did it prepare you for entrepreneurship in a space that's so competitive?
Yeah, what I tell people with UH, so my grandparents are from northern India, but my dad grew up here a little bit, but my mom is from India as well. So biggest benefit of going to University of Houston was understanding how to be in a business environment. And I just mean it's like simple, subtle stuff. How do you write an email? Yeah. How are you professional? How do you eat dinner? It sounds simple stuff, but especially if you don't come from that kind of background, like you were learning this from an immigrant parent's perspective, and then, me as well. My parents didn't really know none of those, a lot of those norms. I think that's where it was helpful, and that's something that I still take to this day. All those classes, like how to set up your LinkedIn, how to send out emails, like that first year at Bauer, I still remember that, and I still use all that stuff to this day.
I love Bauer.
No, I love Bauer. It's one of the things that I genuinely take all those lessons from this day, just in the sense that business, the cultural side of the business, and that's going to be helpful regardless.
No, for sure. And what video, if you remember, was one that you were like, wow, okay, this could be something?
It was, when I first started, it was in 2021. It was in Houston, and it was at a place called the Cook Shack. The Cook Shack, they had made at that time, I think in 2020, like Yelp's top 100 spots in the US, and at that time it was like when hot chicken was just going crazy. For those that don't know, in 2025 it was matcha, in 2024 it was Dubai chocolate, in the 2020-2021 phase it was hot chicken. So I went to this place called the Cook Shack, ordered hot chicken and waffles, and I was like, dang, these are some of the most underrated, some of the best chicken and waffles I had. Posted that video. It was like first real viral video. Did hundreds of thousands of views across like TikTok. Grew my account a lot. That was the first time I was like, I might have something. And then what happened was the owner, he lived in Dallas, but I got a random message on Instagram from this lady. Super random, because I didn't even have an email at that time with Shawn the Food Sheep. She's like, the owner of the Cook Shack would love to meet with you. And so basically, he drove down all the way from Dallas just to meet with me. And he's like, you sold out our chicken and waffles for a month straight. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's when I kind of think, I knew I kind of had something. And that's why at that time, I just set a goal to post every day, for an entire year afterwards. And that's just kind of how Shawn the Food Sheep developed over time.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, fried chicken definitely was the craze back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Dave's Hot Chicken's still going high. It just sold for $1 billion, so it's still up there.
It's good.
Yeah, I wonder what the 2026 food of the year is gonna be.
Oof, I don't know, honestly, but I'm here for it. I fall for it every time. So, Houston and UH are known for diversity. How do you think that impacted your taste, your food cuisine, just you as a person?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just learn about a lot of different ethnicities, nationalities. Like, I remember when I was at University of Houston, again, just because you have that massive diversity, right? Like, after class, one of my Pakistani buddies would be like, hey, you know, I'd recommend this spot. Or somebody that I knew was Colombian would be like, oh, this is a spot, you know. But I wasn't a massive foodie during that time. But I think being in Houston, one of the massive benefits you get is also understanding a lot of cultural nuances, right?
Yes.
Like for example, if you didn't grow up in Houston, you might not meet people from like 70 different ethnicities like you would at University of Houston. So understanding those cultural nuances, I think both helps in business as well, and also in international business, where I know like UH has some classes on. There are just so many nuances in the culture that you just kind of learn being at UH just naturally with how diverse it is.
Yeah. How do you decide what spots to review or make videos on?
Yeah, you know, it honestly varies. So I still do content on the side. I still work full-time otherwise. But essentially what I try to do is I try to incorporate it in my daily life. Like, for example, this entire last week, it was one of my best friend's weddings. So I was like vlogging during the wedding. And my rule is with content, I let it follow my life rather than the other way around. Because yes, you can grow, I think, a bit bigger, do a little bit more wild stuff. But the thing is, it can consume your life. So I wanted to make it to where it was sustainable. And then so I just kind of story tell throughout my entire daily life or what I have going on in that week rather than it controlling me. But in terms of food spots, you know, shout out to the Houston Chronicle. They do a top 100 restaurants list every year in Houston. Houston Michelin Guide, the Michelin Guide, you know, started in 2024. And then I also follow a decent amount of other creators as well. And then when you're on TikTok, I mean, I gotta give a shout out. This may sound kind of odd to say. It's honestly whatever comes across the algorithm, right? Because different things can be popping off at different times on TikTok, on social media. So that's why I kind of do it that way as well.
For sure, I know. It makes me hungry sometimes, just scrolling through my TikTok feed.
It's dangerous.
I know.
It's dangerous, especially it's the second week of January. You're ending the, you know, start. It's like, you ever heard that like study? It's like, this is like when most of the New Year's resolutions end.
Oh yes, the first week, right?
No, it's like the end of the second week of January. So it's like, yeah, it can be tempting.
I know, especially with the Dubai chocolate. I'm like, okay, we gotta chill. So you said you still work. How do you manage your time with? I know you said you make it around your life, but how would you, you know, do you have a routine?
Yes, so what I do tell people is, because I do work a 9 to 5, but I work on East Coast hours, so essentially I work 7:30 a.m. to kind of 4:30 or 7 a.m. to 4. And then what I do is I just kind of rotate around that. So if I work fully remote for my job, and I do have a little bit of flexibility of like I can work in the evenings, I can work a little bit even earlier in the morning. So that flexibility and then kind of building my life around that. It's tough because it's literally become 60, 70-hour weeks. It's just staying on top of it. It's just organizing your calendar. It really is just being very efficient with your time.
For sure. Now I have a very serious question for you.
Yeah.
And I will be judging. So, are you a sweet or a savory person?
So I think growing up, especially when I was at UH, I was a huge sweets person.
Okay.
I still have a big sweet tooth, but I've over time gotten to savory. So I'll give you a couple examples. When I drink coffee now, it is just straight black coffee. Like, it is just cold brews. It is espressos. It's nothing like fancy. It's like, I think like when I first started off drinking coffee, it was like, you know when you go to Dutch Bros and you get like the double, you know, it's like they got like the 500, 600 calories. Yeah, I was like, Dutch Bros is milkshakes more than coffee. Yeah. Basically, I started off with that, and then I've just kind of worked my way down as I've aged, and now I'm just like straight like a black coffee person. That's just kind of how it's been.
Yeah, I agree. Me too.
But yeah, savory. Yeah. So are you a savory or sweets person?
I think it just depends. Usually, like with coffee, I love like just bitter coffee. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
But see, I do enjoy a little dessert. I do. So I was gonna say some people just don't like one or the other. I was gonna be like, oh, if you're just anti this or anti that, I may judge a little because I don't understand. And then, is there any spot that just takes you back to that ratatouille moment of being a student here? If you studied late night with friends or pulled an all-nighter, what place just takes you back?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I wasn't a big foodie when I went to University of Houston. I wasn't a big like coffee drinker at all. But I think some of my best memories were honestly just being at the Nook coffee shop, just hanging out with people afterwards. I was like, at that time, I was like drinking like the super sugary drinks because I didn't like coffee. But I just remember like being on the patio. We would just be hanging out there all the time. This doesn't exist anymore, I think. I mean, I think the building does, but it was Calhoun Rooftop. I don't know if
I'm not sure. I think the rooftop's still there, but I don't know if the business is.
The rooftop is still there, but I remember like Calhoun Rooftop would be another place that like me and a bunch of people would hang out all the time. And it was a lot of fun. So in terms of nostalgia, I actually still haven't been on those since been in that shopping area since 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Since I've been back. I had the chance to go to Bauer, because when we launched the Houston Built Legacy Award, it's like our scholarship.
Yeah.
When we launched it, I had the chance to go to Bauer for the first time in 6-7 years, and I was like, honestly, it hasn't changed that much.
No.
I was like, man, I could remember everything that everything where it was. I still remember the Chick-fil-A and the Welcome Center. Again, there's just a lot of memories.
You talked about your scholarship. What inspired you to launch one here?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it literally came together so quickly. So it was last year. I was having a conversation with one of my buddies. I was like, oh man, I want to launch a scholarship at the University of Houston. But I was looking at the minimums and stuff, and I was like, I'm not that much into my career where it's that big yet, but got connected to now who's a friend, Darren Randall, who is the COO, the founder of Houston Tents and Events. And so basically we partnered up and we both went on at 50-50, and we just launched a 5-year scholarship. So basically every year a different UH student will get a $5,000 award from, the university, from us, and it will change every single year. So it'll be a different person every single year.
Love that. I think it's amazing. I was just reading an article about it. It's really, really cool what you're doing.
Yeah, it's fun. I was like, hopefully more in the future. Just got to make more money. Just that's the thing. It's like the more money I can make, the more I can start. Yeah.
No, I feel you on that. So, okay. What would you tell someone who's visiting Houston for the first time, whether it's for vacation or trying to decide if they're going to come to school here? What is a must-visit restaurant, a Houston restaurant? And I know it's hard because you only get to pick one.
There's a lot, but there actually is a list that I do kind of give people. The one thing is everybody thinks when you're in Houston, Mexican food. I actually think Tex-Mex, because you're not going to find it anywhere else, in the US or even as good. I remember when I lived in Los Angeles, and even when I would go to Mexican restaurants and stuff, I was asking for queso. It was kind of like a culture shock, because I lived in LA for 2 years, and I was like, oh, they don't have queso. Some people would even ask what it was, but I always recommend Candente. So Candente is kind of near the museum district.
Okay.
And the reason why I recommended it, if somebody has one day, it is a Michelin recommended Tex-Mex spot. It was my personal favorite before Michelin went there as well. But what they do is they take all their meat and they get it from the pit room next door.
What?
So the pit room is a phenomenal barbecue spot, but when you get top tier meat with top tier Tex-Mex and you combine it, that's what Candente does very well. So I always tell people, if you only have 24 hours in Houston, it's a must visit, because that way you can kind of knock out barbecue and Tex-Mex at once and have a really good Tex-Mex meal.
This is news to me. I'm gonna go check this place out. I had no idea they got their meat from the pit room.
Yeah, and it's right next to the museum district. So if somebody's visiting town, they can go to the Museum of Fine Arts, they can go to the Museum of Natural Science, they can go to Herman Park. So there's a lot you can do. That's why I always recommend that, because I'm you have 24 hours. That's a good, you can spread yourself out within that 10-minute area of driving.
No, for sure, for sure. I always say I'm a little biased because I live here, but I do think we have some of the best food in the world. I really do. Back to your scholarship though. How does it feel to be a part of such a big time in UH's history with our centennial coming up?
It's awesome. I mean, University of Houston, I feel is just getting better and better every year.
Yes.
Just in terms of its reputation, beautiful the campus is getting, just in terms of our athletics. So it just feels cool to be a small part of where UH is headed and the direction where the city is also headed in. I feel Houston and both the University of Houston are kind of on the same path, where I think people in their head, have it, and I mean it in a good stereotype, right? When you think of a University of Houston student, you're primarily thinking of a hardworking student, somebody who is just here, they're gonna get a good job, they're gonna be that. I think that's the reputation when I think of with the University of Houston students, and Houston has that same reputation as well. But I think now you're adding a little bit of pizzazz to it, right? Where now our athletics is getting better, where now it's the food scene, the entertainment. Houston's a great place to work hard, but now it's also, I think, being a great place to party hard.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, here's our signature question. It's okay if you can't do it, but you gotta try, right? Okay.
Sure.
So, in less than 10 words, how would you convince someone to give back?
Oh, this is tough.
I know.
To give, how I would convince them to give back. You're helping the next generation of your home. That I think if that was 6 words, help the next generation of your home, right? And I think the reason why I say that is there's so much talk about community. You hear so much talk about how like there's like lack of third spaces, lack of community, you know, in the world now. But I think you also got to contribute to the village as well. And there's different ways to do it. Just simple as like showing up to a game or maybe to volunteer. And of course, as you progress in your career and as you start making that moolah, which like, you know, there's, I mean, that, you know, somebody's in oil and gas for 30, 40 years, you know, they're going to progress in their career, but there's different ways to give and start giving money. So that's what I mean. It's, I'd say if you want to be a part of your village, if you want to be a part of community, it's not just getting, it is also giving, kind of how we all rise.
No, yeah, I agree. What advice would you give someone who's wanting to go into the content creation space? What
I would say is content creation is incredibly saturated in the sense of there are so many people constantly creating content. There are so many people doing it very generally. But if you have one particular thing that you're incredibly passionate about, like I always say, like start with like a very, very niche thing, become a super expert on a topic, because that way young people want to, you know, listen to you about that topic, and you can always expand upwards. People will gravitate towards your personality as they get to know you, and you can always do different kinds of content as you kind of build your way up. I always say like go super niche. If you have a super niche interest, it can be anything, right? It's like you love Power Rangers, and you know, you're the #1 collector of Power Rangers in the world. Like people have very unique interests. So I'd say just kind of focus on that, build your way up, something that you love, and try to do it sustainably. Kind of like working out, right? Like you have to, it has to be a constant thing. You can take a little bit of break here and there, but just like with content, it's kind of like a treadmill. You just got to kind of keep walking on it for it to continue moving forward.
And so now it's time for a shameless plug. You are able to shamelessly plug anything you want to do, whether it's your career, personal, advice, UH, anything. The world's your oyster.
Yeah, I would say, you know, one thing, if you're at the University of Houston, you're a student, I'd say just take advantage of all the amazing resources you have, and also take advantage of, you know, a little bit of the naiveness. So what I mean by that is like, you know, you're a student, which means you will have access to people that you will not get further in your career. So like, you know, people are always willing to help a student out, but let's say at a certain point, you know, you're in the middle of your career, you know, people like you can get a meeting with any CEO, you can get a meeting with anybody, you know, once they see that at UH, you know, .edu.
Yep.
So I'd say take advantage of that and just take advantage of all the resources that you have, because once you're off campus, it's going to be incredibly difficult, even if you're an alumni. The experience here is what you make of it. I think one of my regrets is like have a little bit more fun, because I've worked pretty hard those 4 years. I'm like very, very happy with how things turned out. But I think one of the things I wish I had done was just be serious, but also make sure to have a lot of time for fun when you can. Of course, hit those grade points, make sure you get those internships. But I think sometimes like you are in the best part of your life. Also like meet people. It's wild how many people like don't take advantage of that. It's like you're at the university.
It's funny you say all that, because I tell my student workers the exact same thing you said. I'm like, do not be afraid to ask for anything. Just try, because as a student, that's the one advantage you have. So Shawn, thank you so much for being on Cruise and Coogs with us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Everyone else, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment your favorite food place in Houston. But as always, see y'all next month.
Go Coogs!